I'm looking for somebody who has trained, knows they have something to offer, but also knows I can't wait to learn. Please teach me. I have stuff. I can't wait to learn. Two, don't come in polished. I know when you've been coached within an inch of your life, it's not authentic. So let the mask go and just be you and show up. Because at the end of the day, that's why you're going to get hired, not just in school, but being as individual and as unique as possible.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Hassiem Muhammad, and you are listening to The Actor's Instrument, Tools for the Long Game. Yo, when you subscribe to the channel, it tells the algorithm that this content is worth it, and so it pushes it to other users. So if you feel like this content is worth it, please hit that subscribe button for us before you continue. Thank you. I graduated from college 8 years ago. Good God. And the industry has changed drastically in that time. For example, in my first 125 auditions, maybe 3 to 5 of them were self-tapes. Now, about 98% of my auditions are all on tape. Rarely are we in the room. The industry is constantly shifting. And so joining us this week on The Actor's Instrument for an update on the conservatory education for actors in 2026 is the Dean of Theater from Boston Conservatory at Berkeley. Krisha Marcano is a theater educator, choreographer, and entrepreneur with more than 30 years of experience in the performing arts. She joined Boston Conservatory in 2024 as Dean of Theater. Prior to BOCO, she was at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts. She was my dance teacher, where she served for 8 years as Associate Professor of Theater Dance and Assistant Dean for Student Affairs and Entrepreneurial Studies. For the first 6 years of her career, she danced with the acclaimed Martha Graham Dance Company, as well as the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater. She then performed on Broadway for the next 17 years in hit musicals such as Fosse's First National Tour, Disney's Aida, Sweet Charity, and Motown the Musical. Plus, she originated the role of Squeak in Oprah Winfrey's The Color Purple in 2005. Carisha, thank you so much for joining me.
Hassiem, you're my new agent. That's it.
Ah,
You're hired. You're hired.
Hey, I can sell a resume if it's this good. Okay? Ah, knock, knock, ring, ring. I'm gonna get you in the room. You got all this?
Okay.
Okay, good to go. No, Krisha, man, I've been wanting to have you on this show ever since you got the job at BOCO. I know it took you a little minute to get settled. You look very nice in your office. How does it feel you went from, dancer to musical theater Broadway performer? You added acting to your bag. You got into academia. You were teaching dance for years. You moved up to associate dean, and then now you're the head of a department at a major conservatory.
Yes, I know. And it feels like I've only just begun. So it never ends. And it's amazing. It's amazing to still have food and still have purpose and still have things to do. I've got to do it. You got to, well, I've got to do it. I've got to, and you can still start over.
That's
I've
incredible.
pivoted. This is what, my third full career now. So I'll be 55 this year and I've only just begun.
55. Come on.
I mean,
Trinidad don't crack. Okay. Okay. Let me stay professional. Yeah, clearly Krisha and I, we close.
I know.
All right. So, as I said in your intro, you originated the role of Squeak on Broadway 21 years ago.
Jesus.
Yeah. Now, this is kind of a loaded question, but I want to know, in your opinion, what is the biggest change that you've seen in the industry? You've been in this for decades now.
Yeah. I did not I did not have to um self-tape at all. Like that was not a thing. It was just everything was live. Everything was in the room, everything was in the moment, which means it was tedious for the creatives, of course, because they had to be there all the time. They had to see everyone from beginning to end and all the in between. but you know that when you got in the room, you were actually seen because self tapes can be made by everyone. That doesn't mean that everybody's getting seen past a few seconds or a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not a casting agent, but I know. Whereas you live, you have a captive audience, so you have the opportunity to get better because they can't move.
Yeah, that's valid. I remember when I was in school, we weren't trained on self-taping because it almost didn't exist.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember being told, like, "Yeah, in your audition, make sure you start strong and you finish strong. You know,
Yes.
start with a strong choice, finish with a strong choice." And you're right, like, how often do they get to the second strong choice?
Correct.
We don't know.
No, we don't. We don't because we're not in casting, but I do know that it gives them the opportunity to opt out faster than having to be a captive audience, right? That being said, the whole recording, like virtual showcase and having your stuff in a medium that they can go back and see as opposed to having to remember is also an asset. So like it kind of I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't it's just different. It's different. It's not better, it's not worse. It's just sort of the percentages have changed. It's good over here and it's not so good over here. It's kind of it's shifted. So
No, that's valid. I definitely feel the pros and cons as well. Like, there's sometimes where, like, I'm like, "No, I just wanna do this at home." You know, I wanna, because I can control the environment, you know what I'm saying? And then there are moments where I'm like, "Oh, I wish this was in the room,"
yeah.
because I can't make the same choices on camera,
Yeah.
and
And, impulse, it's right there with the reader, and it's right there, and you get feedback and an opportunity to do it again when you're in person. Whereas a self-tape, you get to do it again and go, "Thank God nobody saw that one." You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's neither good nor bad, it's just shifted in percentages where it's advantageous over here, it's not so much. You know,
no,
like everything
absolutely.
else, it changed and it pivoted.
N Now you'll have to help me. Y'all's program at Boco, is it purely musical theater?
Well, it's the theater division, so we have 2 programs, musical theater and contemporary theater. But I'm at the moment phasing out contemporary theater. So, we have a junior and a senior class, and we've stopped, recruiting for the contemporary theater program. And so the musical theater program is gonna continue, and I'm gonna investigate starting a new program at some point in the near future.
Okay, so why the phasing out of contemporary theater?
The contemporary theater program, you know how, like, when we were at UNCSA, creating your own work, you had devising class, you had a number of ways to create your own work. Well, what I believe is that when this particular program was devised and created, it was to, to codify all those ways to create work, ensemble-based work, through the eyes of the actor. But as the years went by in this program, it began to be less and less popular. So we couldn't recruit a full class of an ensemble work if you can't get an ensemble. So I think because a lot of other programs just had it in their acting program. It was sort of included as opposed to having it be a degree all on its own. So it was just sort of in my eyes, it was sort of the natural course of things that, coming here to do just this was no longer as popular. So as everything is, change is constant, and, that
Gotcha.
doesn't mean it wasn't worthwhile. It was so worthwhile, it was now assimilated in a lot of different programs, whether it was acting or theater arts or whatever. So,
So, were your musical theater students, they're gonna get some of that same pedagogy that existed?
yes, I mean, as you know, at UNCSA, we were a big fan of everybody should at least investigate all of their artistry so that at some point, your proclivities of making work or putting yourself out there or learning how to embrace your own artistry. And that's kind of what the essence of the contemporary theater program was.
Mhm.
So, like all the other programs, everyone needs to investigate this.
She
So
heard.
that's, you know, to upgrade
And do you have ideas? You said you may start a new program in the future. Do you know what that might look like?
a straight acting program.
Mm. And so this,
A
because
straight acting program that's going to be competitive might be an acting program focusing on TV film, like media, content creation.
see, this is where I was hoping we get to. Because the biggest question for me, for like all the schools out there, is like, how are we adapting, or how are y'all adapting to this changing landscape where you have content creators who are now starring on Broadway, are starring in TV and film? And I don't want to get it twisted, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like that's what everybody's doing. You know, it's not like, oh, every show is being led by a content creator. No, they're probably like a really small percentage. Um, but it's a new avenue. It's something that's now available that wasn't available before. And so, yeah, I'm curious, and I'll pose it as a question. Like, how are you guys preparing your students to enter this kind of an industry?
Well, there are a few things. One, when you're working with somebody that's trained, and when you're working with somebody that's not trained.
Mhm.
Wherever that training comes from, please, for the love of all that is holy, train. If we're talking about musical theater, the three basic foundations, if you can't sing, y- the, mm,
You
I don't know what to tell you.
you maybe should not do musicals.
And you should be a mover, you should be able to move very well, and some should be able to dance very, very well.
Mhm.
You don't have to be a strong dancer to be in musical theater, but you at least have to be very surprising trained mover.
That's fair.
And at the end of the day, the thing that's going to get you the job is your ability to tell the story through your acting.
Mm.
Because why you and not me? If by the time we got into the room together, we already got an appointment, so everybody can kick their face if that's the call in this room. So what's gonna give you the advantage over me at that point? That's gonna be your ability to be a stronger actor than me at that moment in that time. So acting is kind of at some point the thing that turns the table. You always have to invest in your ability to storytell. That's just the basis. Now, to have longevity is how you discuss what your transferable and translatable skills are within those foundations and all the other things that make you an artist. Yes, it is a moneymaker. Let's just take Broadway as that specific industry. They're trying to make money. It's a business, and being in their shows is a job. That's it. That's it. Don't don't make too much out of it. That's it. And it's a wonderful, wonderful job, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to have happen in our life. But that's not all that theater is. There's theater everywhere, right? So, how are you going to put yourself on stage if it's not on Broadway? Where are the other places that you can be seen? And is this just for you in your living room, or are you planning on sharing your artistry anywhere for a number of people? Not only for $200 a ticket. So you're not only a dancer, singer, actor. You can be anything you want to be and anything that grows out of that. But you have to know how to identify it and then how to monetize it if you want to, or how not to monetize it, how to share it, and how to keep curious about new platforms in order for you to take advantage of that. Otherwise, you will get stagnant and be waiting for the phone to ring.
say that. Yeah, I feel like when I was in school, we never, and I know you and I have talked quite a bit since I graduated about this, but when I was in school, we never talked about how to monetize your talents, your other skill sets. I was listening to this entrepreneur. He's actually really famous. His name is Alex Hormozy. He's not
Mhm.
famous in our sphere of the arts, but in the business world, he's, big dog. And he was talking about how your passion doesn't have to be the thing that pays the bills.
No, no.
And I know that's hard for us to swallow because that's kinda all we want is, like, I just wanna, like, act and support myself, which is fair, and, like, I think you should pursue that, absolutely, but being okay with there may be seasons when that's
Hey,
not the case.
hallelujah, praise dance.
Yeah, I mean, because he was saying he was like his passion was fitness, and if you look at him, he's crazy jack shredded. I mean, he's on juice, and he's honest about that, but he's, like, crazy shredded, and he wears tank tops to these business meetings where he's running, like, centimillion-dollar businesses. Like, this dude's got, like, hundreds of millions of dollars in his own net worth. And he goes into meetings in a tank top, and he's just, like, this buff dude, and he's like, "Fitness was my passion," and as he was, like, running and operating a gym, he got really good at the business part.
Mhm.
He realized, "I can make a lot of money as a businessman." And so he said now, like, he makes these hundreds of millions of dollars as a businessman, and he owns a bunch of gyms, and he says the gyms don't make him any money, and he doesn't care because that's his passion,
That's
and
the
so he
passion.
can he can walk into these gyms at any time, and he loves that they exist, and he loves that people use them, but he's
Mhm.
like, "That was is the passion,
Yes.
but I made the money over here," and he's like, "And I'm cool with that."
But you see, now all of the things that we just talked about has to start in college. It has to. The foundation has to be there, and then we have to now talk the language of how do you maximize and also be curious about something that might rear its head of a talent that you didn't even know you had in 5 years from now, but you know what to do with it when it shows up. And that
Absolutely.
is why on camera, everybody, we've got to talk about verticals now. We've got to talk about um, before AI takes all of it, make sure that you know how to do voiceovers and you know how to what's the gaming world sound and look like and where do you fit in case something comes over your desk. Do you want to eat or not? That doesn't have to be your passion, it has to be your rent. I'm trying to get you paid, and I'm trying to get you eating steak and wines. Okay? Okay. I'm trying to get you to have a vacation at least once or twice a year and be able to afford it. I'm trying to get my students to go, you know what? I am burnt out. I'm going to need a year off. You need to be able to afford it.
I'm so glad you're having this conversation with your students because this is the kind of stuff that, like, like, find out in the moment after we've graduated.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's like all this stuff is like it's not avoidable. It's not like, "Oh, well, if you don't learn it in school, you just maybe never have to do it." It's like, no, that it's gonna come up. You're gonna be in a situation where, maybe you pop off early, but then there's a season of like not much is popping, or
Yes.
the inverse. Maybe it takes you a few years to make some shake. What do you do in that in between time?
What is how do you keep the sewing machine on high? You know? That's why, showcase is a moment in time. I've done a Broadway show for 2 years, people have done it for longer. It's still a moment in time. You have the rest of your life. The rest of I did all of those things you said, all the things, and I still feel like I've only just begun. I got the rest of my life. How am I gonna you know what I mean? I have so much work to do. I've only just begun. It's it the same skills are gonna continue to grow and continue to be needed no matter what you do and where you are. I've also done all of those things and never thought for once I was selling out or giving in or giving up. No, I wanted to pay rent and I like a glass of wine. That's it. It doesn't have to be deeper than that. My family lives in Trinidad in the Caribbean, and I need to go home once a year. That's it. It's not enough. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a less of a dancer, singer, actor, performer, artist, arts advocate, like entrepreneur. It has nothing to do with it. I was a real estate agent. I worked for an advertising and marketing company. Um, I published a newspaper by myself for the arts community. I had a production company. I made handbags while I was in the color purple. I had front of house was selling my handbags: a Sealy bag, Shug, Nettie, Squeak, Sophia.
So you better use that leverage.
Listen,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. If you can think entrepreneurially about your artistry when you're in business, when it's business, be in business. It's your business. When it's of service, be of service. You know what I mean? When it's for wellness, be for wellness. Do it. There's no but. No, who makes these rules?
They're made up. The ones that exist are made up.
I'll say one thing I have, and you know I had this in class, UNCSA. I'm sorry, I'm gonna curse. Is that all right?
Go off.
Fuck it. Death is not on the table. So who makes these rules? And nobody can publish anything and produce anything with $3.75 like us. So who are the entrepreneurs? I'll wait. Could you imagine if we had funding and information? Oh my lord. That's what I'm trying to do here at Boston Conservatory. Flip some tables.
We're gonna play a game. All right, so this is Black Broadway Top 5.
That.
I played this in another episode. Some of y'all may have seen it when John Clay, and y'all was on TikTok coming at me because of the 5 shows I picked.
Okay.
So I put in some new ones. You
Okay.
can play with Krisha.
I didn't
She's another Black
see it,
Broadway
but
star.
okay.
Great. Oh, great. Oh, even better. You hadn't seen that episode. Beautiful. All right. So I've got 5 Black Broadway shows, and
Okay.
you are going to rank them on a scale from 1 to 5 without knowing what comes next.
That's not fair.
It's a blind ranking.
Ah, poop. All right.
We're so excited.
I was so excited.
All right.
Ah.
First one I'm going to give you, we'll say 1 is the best, 5 is the 5th best. None of these are all great shows, so I won't say the worst. Once on This Island.
Oh, they're gonna come for me. They're gonna come for me.
Do it. Do it.
I'm gonna leave 5 alone, but I'm gonna do 4.
Okay. All right. Once on This Island takes the number 4 spot. Porgy and Bess.
Ay, carajo. Oh man.
And y'all TikTokers better be listening to this episode because this was for you.
That's gotta be 3 at the very least.
All right,
Porgy
3,
and Bess.
we got 3 to go. You know what? I'm gonna do this one next. The Color Purple.
I have a soft spot for the color purple. I have a soft spot for the color purple, but there's a
3 left. What spot are you gonna give it?
I'm gonna do 2. I know, and I was in it because I'm hoping.
Hope I don't let you down. These last 2. Okay. The Wiz. Just 2 left. And you got spot 5 and 1 remaining.
Yeah, color purple is gonna have to be 1. The Wiz is gonna have to be 5.
All right, Wiz at 5, which makes your number
But
1.
which one of the Wizzes? Are we talking the originals of all of them?
That's what I was picturing.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we'll go original.
Talking the original of all of them. Oy. Okay, at least it's not. Well, it can't be 6. And it's gonna have to be 5 now that I've painted myself in a corner.
All right, your number 1 spot goes to
Nope.
Dreamgirls.
Color purple is 1 then.
Wait, what'd you think was wait, what's your number 1? What's your number 1?
Fine.
Okay. Oh, they was on me for having Ragtime on the last list of top 5.
Why?
They were like, "That's not a black show." Now, to be
It's
fair,
I
it's not
I feel like it's a black show. Maybe
that's what
I
me and John was saying, and John's in it, which is why I had it on the list specifically because he is currently in this production of Ragtime on
Oh,
Broadway.
oh, okay.
Yeah, like,
And
he's
I
in it right now.
choreographed it, so because they did that music when it's time for us to come out on stage. It's a fete. It is a fete.
No, and this may be controversial, I don't really care, I don't do musicals, but I do think about Ragtime as black musical, like, Cole House is the lead character.
Yeah, it's about him.
Like, I know we have Tate, and we had
Yes.
family from New Rochelle and all them, but it's Cole House's story, like,
Are we being biased? Are we being biased?
we can be. I'm being biased. I mean, maybe I'm not maybe I am, maybe I'm
His
not.
latte is quite prominent, bless him.
He is, but
You
that's
have to
like
be biased. Anyway,
if there was an Academy Award no, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. Alright, recapping your top 5.
okay,
We had
recap.
number 5 spot, The Wiz, 4, Once on This Island, 3, Porgy and Bess, 2, Color Purple, 1, Dreamgirls. What would you change if you could?
Woof. I screwed that whole up. That
What would
whole
would you just switch Dreamgirls and Color Purple? But The Wiz at 5.
I
That's tough.
know. The Wizard fight, especially I'm glad that I had to clear that up because the Wiz original,
Mhm.
I would do 1, Color Purple, 2, The Wiz. The original
Yeah, yeah.
as a dancer, singer, actor, come on down. And I'm putting the Color Purple first because
You are Squeak. It's you.
I can't, I have to. I have
For
to.
for my audio only folks, Krisha is holding her poster of The Color Purple
With me on it.
with her on it because she is
Yes.
Squeak. Um,
So I can't deny. Um,
that's valid.
Dreamgirls is gonna have to be 4. What did I have up
Wait,
3?
you didn't say 3 yet. We have Once on This Island and Porgy and Bess. So you
Was on
said
this island 5,
uh-huh.
Porgy and Bess 4, Dreamgirls 3, Wiz 2, Color Purple 1.
Boom, there you have it, folks. Black Broadway top 5.
I'm biased. That's bias all over the place. And the
That's for
only
sure.
reason that Once on This Island is so low, especially since I'm from the Caribbean. I love that story. I love that there's folk tales in it and everything. It's so close to my heart. What is that accent? Where are the accent coaches? Every time I see that show, I want to know where am I?
That's a good question.
I
Maybe they're doing
cannot.
like a Wakanda thing, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like a mashup because they don't want it to be any one place in particular. I'm
It
not
has
defending
to at
them, I'm just
least
saying.
feel authentic as opposed to when you've heard a sort of generalized, but you can buy an African accent.
I knew you were gonna go there. Yep.
A generalized, but you can buy Hispanic mashup. I have a problem with Asian mashup because none of them sound alike at all.
Fact.
Nevertheless, none of the Caribbean islands sound alike.
Mm.
I Trini doesn't sound like Bajan, and they don't, s- and Bajans don't sound like Jamaicans.
No.
And
Is
somebody, at least, there's an authenticity that I would have liked a little more sprinkling of.
alright, so whoever does What's on This Island next,
Call
we
me.
got a tall task. Call Krisha. Okay, while we're talking about the fun stuff, I was looking at your resume. I was not planning on asking this question, but I have to. Your special skills contain shotgun, rifle, handgun, Skeet shooting, that's like skill, y'all. Horseback riding, specifically, you got some side saddle on there. What you was doing westerns in between your Broadway shows? That was like the most random thing ever. I was like, wait,
Is
what?
which is why I put it on my special skills because they always look down and go, "Excuse me?" And then I get to talk about it and to have a funny story, and then we get to actually have a human being experience, and I get to make an impression. But I can't bring in guns in the thing, but it gives them gives them a moment of, "Excuse me?" That's the only reason it's there. So the first job out of college was was Norwegian Cruise Lines, the Nordic Prince. I did the Mexican Riviera for 6 months and then went up from Vancouver and did, Alaska. So I did 9.5 months on this cruise ship, and one of the things I did was crew staff. Even though I was singing and dancing and acting on the doing the entertainment in the shows, we would all do crew staff. And I would do wine tasting and then open the doors to the back deck and do skeet shooting after wine tasting. Yes, that's what I said. Anywho, the Nordic Prince is no longer. I'm sure it's at the bottom of the sea as a reef at this point because it was its first ship, so it's probably gone. But any case, um, I used to teach skeet shooting with the Norwegian officers on the back of the ship for at least an hour as like, like it was basketball free throw. It was skeet shooting. And at some point, they taught me how to shoot and I loved it. So I got my license to carry for sport. There's no reason to have a handgun in the house, in my opinion, because it's a sport. I'm not planning on shooting anybody except maybe in these days. Anyway,
I was gonna say, I'll hold my tongue on this one.
that's how I felt back in the day. I'm rewriting how I feel at the moment.
That's incredible. Cause like, and that's the beautiful thing about like being a performer is like just the places it takes us. You know what I'm saying? Like you were fresh out of school, you're like, oh my God, I got this cruise gig, I'm gonna be dancing. And next thing you know, you're on the back deck shooting a rifle.
Yep. And side saddle Puerto Vallarta every Thursday, Mazatlan every Wednesday, Cabo San Lucas every Tuesday. In Puerto Vallarta, I would go horseback riding every Thursday.
That makes so I didn't even think about the fact that like when you dock on a cruise, you get to go do stuff.
Yes. And because like how many times are you gonna lie at the beach like, "Oh my god," there are other things that people do in these places. The people live there. So, I found horseback riding and I loved it, and then they taught me how to side saddle, they taught me how to bunch of stuff.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm so glad I asked. That's incredible. I love that I now know this about you. Okay. For someone who had a successful Broadway career, I just have like two questions left. Um, what kind of insight are you uniquely able to give your students? I feel like there are kind of two kinds of educators. There are those who've like done the thing and are coming back to share their experience, and there are those who like didn't or did the thing at a certain level. Maybe they didn't, it didn't become their entire career, or maybe they didn't achieve certain heights, but like they're really good at I can think of some professors I had at school that I'm like, maybe they did a couple years past college and then they started teaching, but it's
Mhm.
because they're just really freaking good teachers. Um, and I feel like both are valid. And so I'm just curious, as somebody who has done the thing at the highest level, how do you feel that uniquely positions you in your role as dean?
My network, everybody my age that are my peers that I had as friends in school and in shows, doing the same thing, whether it was concert dance or Broadway are now directors, choreographers, directors, casting, they're all now calling the shots. And now that I'm the dean, I get to call them on my cell phone and go, "Tell me what's going on. Give me the skinny. I heard this is coming down the pike. How are we positioning? How should I position for my students to then reap the benefits of this 5 years, 4 years out, you know? Um, should I go in this direction or this direction? Um, and they'll call me and go, we need a so and so with a so and so and a so and so. Do you have anybody that can read 2021? Absolutely. Here's some people.
That's
Net-
fire.
network one. Two, people coming to the campus to give back are people that other people are not calling because they're my friends. And they're not used to going out like the agents and managers that we all have, you know. They're the people that have long careers that maybe nobody knows about, or they saw them on a TV show or whatever, but they're not the stars, but they're the with those they're working actors. And this is what our students want to know. I may not have the fame, but I would like to do this like you're doing it for decades. And how did you turn into a da 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 da? And you have a how many? You have a house in the what? How did you financially 5, 6, 7, 8 that? What does it mean to actually be a working actor? What does it mean to actually be a working artist? And how did just the regular artist turn all of their curiosities and their proclivities and the rest of their artistry into a thing that is not necessarily on anybody's TV show?
Mm. That's incredible. I never even thought about that. Like, your network is the way that you keep a finger on the pulse of how the industry is moving, because obviously you have your experience from your time in the industry, but like we say, like, it changes every day.
Yeah,
And
and people retire. Like the people I was in Ailey, see, I was in Ailey. Now they're the rehearsal directors. You know,
yeah, man.
same on Broadway. Now Shelley Williams and I were in Aida. She directed The Notebook. She directed The New Wiz. You know what I mean? Brian Harlan Brooks. I mean, I just keep calling. I could just keep calling. I mean, LaChance is a producer.
Yes, she is. She's producing a lot
Yeah,
these last few years.
correct.
Uh,
And people of color on top of that. Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Kinda wish I was still your student. Final question. When you're out on the audition tour, what are the qualities that you're looking for in the actors, the students that you're looking to bring into your program, that you're looking to build these ensembles with? For those, I don't know, I don't know off the top of my head the demographics of everybody who listens to the show, but I imagine some of them are maybe going to be like applying to colleges in the near future. Um, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for somebody who has trained, knows they have something to offer, but also knows I can't wait to learn.
Mm,
Please teach me. I have stuff. I can't wait to learn. Two, don't come in polished. I know when you've been coached within an inch of your life. It's not authentic. You know, be real. We're real. We don't need you to do it completely perfectly. But, like in acting, I can see an inner life. Understand what your inner life feels like. Ask people, how do I be authentic to my inner life? Because we're human beings. I'm going to have you in this program for 4 years and pour into you when you're uncomfortable, when you're sad, when you're tired, and when you're happy. So let the mask go and just be you and show up. Because at the end of the day, that's why you're going to get hired, not just in school, but being as individual and as unique as possible. And not unique crazy, just unique, just you. There's nobody like you. It's enough. It's enough. And if we're good, we'll get you better. You don't have to show up fully baked.
that's so reassuring. And I can only imagine that even my folks who are listening to the show, who are well beyond their collegiate years or who have no plan on going back to school, I know we can all take something from that piece of advice there, you know? And you can see I'm over here, I'm taking notes, you know?
Wait, is that what you're
Okay.
doing?
Yes, that's what I'm doing. I've said this to so many guests on the show, I'm taking notes, um, because I'm a sponge. I consider myself so
Always, you always were. You were the best student ever.
oh,
You were the best.
goodness gracious. I ain't gonna lie, I was a pretty good student.
You are still great.
I was a pretty good student, no, but I'm always looking to grow, and, it's a beautiful thing about this journey is that, like, as you said, it's not over until you die.
Yeah.
So, I'm not in this moment currently, I'm not dead yet, so I'm gonna keep growing. I'm taking my notes. I hope y'all are too. Um, Krisha, I genuinely can't we could keep talking for hours, but I'm not gonna do this to y'all.
You know,
So, uh, thank you so much for your time. I said this earlier in the show, genuinely, like, your kids are so lucky to have you. Like, to have somebody that has the mind that you have, and I know the moves you were trying to make at UNCSA, and now that you're in a position to actually, like, have the leverage to make these things happen, like, I can't wait to see what happens to Boko. Um, yeah, they're set.
thank you. I love you too, Hassiem. Continue. Just keep going. You're doing it all right, friend. You're doing it all right.
Yes, ma'am. Alrighty, folks, if you enjoyed this conversation with Krisha Marcano, then you'll love a recent interview I did with theater director and educator Timothy Douglas. So be sure to check that out. Thank you all so much for tapping into this episode of The Actor's Instrument. Before you go, make sure to like this episode and subscribe to the channel. Major shout out to our co-producers and distributors over at Next Chapter Podcasts. We'll be back next Tuesday. Till next time, y'all. Peace.